All right, so first thing for graphing in Google Sheets. Google Sheets, when you tell it to make a graph, loves to have the data in columns. And actually, it's nice if you already have your axis titles here in the column heading above it, because then it really can set things up for you nice and quickly. Oops, I'm going to type this in. Set my caps lock down. There we go. And you'll see what I mean in a second. But it wants you to put them in columns. If you have accidentally already typed it in as a row this way, there's a way you can do what's called transposing your data. So I can left click and highlight all of these. And while they're all selected, I'm going to right click on them. And I'm just going to go to copy. And then wherever I want to maybe paste these as a column now, I'll just like left click, I'll just put it this space for whatever reason, and I'll right click on that space. And if I just highlight paste special, I get all these extra options on the side. And if I do paste transposed, you can see it has taken all my numbers and put them in a column. And then if I wanted to put them, let's say in this column over here, I can always highlight them and then highlight them and then drag them there if I really wanted to move it or so on. So, in fact, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff now because I don't really need. Is that what I want to do? There we go. I don't really need that. I have my data entered in, and I have these sitting here. And so there's a couple ways you can look about doing this. One is just to be clicked anywhere and hit Insert, Chart, and then it gives me a blank chart, and I have to add all this stuff in by myself. So I'd have to put my x-axis in, and let's say I want to put atomic number right here as my data, and hit OK. And then it says, okay, what series do you want? Okay, so I'll do this. I'll click on down here, and this will be maybe my y-axis, so I'll highlight the densities and hit OK. But it doesn't really get what I'm trying to do, and so right now it's doing like a chart. But in science, we always do the scatter. We always plot our data as points. So there's my scatter chart that I'd want to use. And you can see it's put my chart in, but I got to add all this stuff in, like my axes titles and all that. And so therefore, I'm going to go to Customize. And under, I think it's Axis and Chart Titles, first it asks, do you want a title? If I do, I would type it right here. Because I'm going to put this in a report, I'm not going to actually type in a title. So I'm going to switch this pull-down menu to my horizontal, or x-axis, and I'm going to say this is atomic number. And you can see it put it in there for me. And I'll switch to my vertical axis, and this is going to be density in grams per milliliter. And it'll put that in for me. I could change the fonts and make it bold if I want and all those things, but I'm not going to do that. And then the last thing I think I might do is go under Series and add a trend line. So I'll click that, and it does that. And it always guesses linear for me right away. If maybe I wanted to change to other things like exponential, I can do that, logarithmic, and so on, power series. But I'm going to say this one's probably about linear. If I scroll down a little bit, there's this thing where it says show R squared, so I'll do that. And for custom label, I can change this to the equation. And now I can actually see what the stuff looks like. Now, I don't really, to be honest, care for the way that Google Documents, or Google Sheets, I should say, puts this up here. It creates a lot of white space. Excel is much better for that kind of stuff. Excel lets me actually click and drag this and put it wherever I want and edit this to say density instead of X. But this is probably the best I can do. However, I would say where this legend is located, I can control. So if I go to legend, right now it's an auto position, and I can maybe put it on the top, maybe like that top a little bit better. That's not so bad. Still doesn't look great. But if all we can afford is Google Sheets and not Excel, then that's all we can do. Sometimes the bottom looks okay as well. So you can kind of pick whichever one that you would want. Okay, so that's to show you those things. I just want to delete this chart, though. I'm going to click on it, and these little dots, I'm going to go to delete chart. Now, keep in mind, I could save image. I could copy this and then paste it into a report right now and do whatever. I'm going to delete it real quick just so you can see something that's a little quicker. If instead of doing all that adding and stuff separately, I first left-click, drag, and I highlight all this, including my labels up here. Whoops. Highlight all of them, including my labels. And if now I insert the chart, it's going to guess what I'm doing. Now, I didn't get the right sort of type of chart, but I'm going to change this now quickly to the scatter. And it already has atomic number and density. Like, it guessed that. It guessed that the second column is my y-axis and my atomic number's x correctly. And so a lot of that stuff's done. I don't have to type an atomic number. It has density labeled here. It even gave me a title and my y-axis. If for some reason it messed something up, I can do this and it'll flip. Although I guess it didn't do it a very nice way, so maybe that didn't work out as well, and maybe you would have to do it the more manual way. I can still go in here under Customize and add a trend line. Unfortunately, where's the, I don't want the values. The type, where's the label? Use equation. Unfortunately, it's not great, but it kind of shows up there. And I can always take the legend, you know, and move it maybe to the top or something if I want and go with that. So anyway, that is making some basic charts and graphs. There are, of course, many other things that can be done. Excel graphs do look a lot nicer than these, but these will be good enough for what we need to do.